go. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Failed Podcast. We have a full house today, and I think we're going to have a great episode. We have a lot to cover, and here we go. We have the R.A.P podcast with us today. Guys, thank y'all for coming in.
Thank you for having us.
I'm going to go that way. This obviously, I know who y'all are, but this is for the audience and some new listeners. Tell us who you are and what you do on the R.A.P podcast, and then we'll just get going.
I'm Johnny. I'm a host of the R.A.P podcast. I edit the podcast. I don't know what else I do. Other random stuff. Do the camera work, the lighting, all that stuff like that.
Very good.
He's what's the terminology?
I'm a producer, basically.
Yeah, he's pretty much.
I would say he's
pretty much the producer.
Yeah, I would say that.
I'm Jay, and I am the captain, pretty much, of the Workoholic Brand.
What?
The captain of the Workoholic Brand.
Captain?
Yeah, captain. Hey, DJ Envy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Ebro.
Yeah, you keep coming up with Ebro, bro. What's going on? What's wrong with you?
Nah, I feel like he's like the Ebro of the R.A.P.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Cool.
You didn't like DJ Envy?
Same thing.
Not right now.
Same thing.
We'll stay off his name for the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, I try to bring conversations, topics, try to lead the conversation a certain direction by just having a good time, telling jokes. So, and started the Workoholic Brand and brought Aramis and Johnny to the podcast circle. So
Yeah. Very good. Thank you.
And I'm Aramis Scott, and I'm a host on the R.A.P. and on the Workoholic podcast. And I mean, I just look at myself like a content creator, I guess is what you call it. So, yeah.
Well, I have been keeping up with the Workoholic Brand and in particular the R.A.P podcast for a while. I've had both of y'all on the Failed Podcast. You're on the lineup as well.
Yes, sir.
And so I've gotten to know y'all just through the community of podcasters, and obviously, you feel like you get to know someone when you watch their episodes and you hear them talk and laugh and kind of share their things. So I feel like we got a good bond. So I'm really privileged that you're here today. I feel like I'm not sure the direction we're going to go in, because when you interview three people, it can be a task. You know what I mean? Because we don't know who's going to do what or say what.
Yep.
But to start off, I think that I'm going to just say congratulations on the best of 2023.
Well, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Fort Worth Weekly. And here's the first question. And here's another thing. If I ask a question, it's going to be for one of you, and then we're going to move on. Everyone is not going to have to answer one question, because that gets kind of repetitive. But if you feel like you have some insight, man, just jump in.
Oh, for sure.
And just let it roll.
We do that already.
So congratulations on winning the title of Best of 2023 Fort Worth Weekly Reader's Choice. How does it feel to first receive this recognition, and what was your initial reaction when you found out that you won? We'll start with Aramis, and how you felt when you found out.
Jake, I actually was at the barbershop. Jay had called me and told me the news. And honestly, I felt great, because it just shows that the grind we've been putting in, like I think me and Jay been doing it probably for like going on 3 years, maybe.
3 years.
Yeah, and it's paying off. The grind is paying off. So it felt awesome, actually. That's how I felt about it.
Do you still remember when y'all started to whenever you found out you won? Did anything come to mind that day?
I mean, like I said, like just basically like just the grind that we've been putting in. Originally, it was, I've been wanting to do podcasts for a long time, and then I met Jay at work, of course, and he was on the same type of time as me with wanting to do the podcast. So we ended up linking up, and my brother Will, shout out to Brother Will, he was on there with us as well, and it was, man, like I said, that was 3 years ago, and he seen the talent in us, like from the first episode. Like he was like, man, y'all are natural. I want to do something with y'all, and I was like, hey, I want to do it on here with you. I feel like we got a chemistry, we got something going on. So it took me back to that time.
Yeah, cool, man.
Yeah.
Jay?
I was, if I'm gonna be honest on here, I honestly thought it was a prank, a joke.
Yeah.
Andrew from Fort Worth Roots hit me up, and he was like, "Hey, anyone call you yet? Anyone called you yet?" And I was just messing with him back because I had no idea what he was talking about. Like, yeah, NBC, ABC, Fox, because the week prior he gave us an award at his he was doing a function at Pouring Glory.
Yeah.
And we pulled up and we got an award, so I thought he was referring to that. He's like, "No, y'all won Fort Worth Weekly." I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, y'all are number one."
So you didn't even see it. He told you.
Yeah, he called me. I for some reason I thought it was gonna be way later than that. I didn't think it was gonna be right, like a month after we.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be like the beginning of next year.
Yeah, so did I. So I was like, I wasn't even looking for it.
Got it.
And yeah, he called me, and I was like, I was in shock, and I was happy, but then I thought about it, I was like, because he wanted to meet up at Pouring Glory, and I was like, hey, we should do a video, and we should announce that y'all R.A.P's a part the best of 2023, and I was like, I feel like Funky Panthers is behind something.
So pranks are so prevalent right now.
They're gonna all be there, be like, gotcha, it was us, because I'll let Johnny give his answer for I'll let Johnny answer for him, but we really weren't looking for it. We were playing around with it. Yeah. I mean, we made jokes, and I do want to thank the Funky Panthers for making this so much fun. Yeah. Like you always go for the top guys. You never aim for anybody down low, but they had it. They were like, you know what? It'd be pretty fun to incorporate them in this, and we didn't even think of that we would. It wasn't even an option for us to even get best of 2023. We were just messing with them, and we're like, all right, we're coming for that top spot, and then we got it, and I was like, oh. what do we do now?
Well, how did you feel? Because at one point it was just a vision. It was just a thought. And then you started rolling. You did a few pods. You had to cancel a few. You're working with other people. And then this happens. And whether the value of the award, that's not what I'm speaking to, because we still need markers that say you're at 1 mile, you're at 2 miles, you're about to be finished. And so this is a great marker for the R.A.P podcast. Thinking when you started and you said, I want to talk into a mic, to that day, what does that make you feel? Like, what does it do to your confidence or from here moving forward?
I hate that I'm going to say this. It did nothing.
Yeah.
It did nothing. I was excited for the recognition more than I was like, okay, like, because I remember starting in 2016, I was like, nobody was listening to me. Yeah. Like, I mean, I was just doing it for fun, and I was just doing it for my selfish reasons of just leaving my voice on this earth long after I'm gone. Something morbid like that. But truth be told, it was cool to see that. I was like, oh, like, I was just doing this for fun. Like, we weren't even putting nothing serious into it. And then we were recognized for it, and we were winning best of 23. It was nice. I loved it. It really humbled me. I have mixed feelings about it, because I was like, at the same time, it was like, I guess because I wasn't striving for it. We were just messing around. Yeah. We really weren't serious about wanting to take it from Funky Panthers or whatever, the little fake beef that we started just for fun. We were just trying to.
Yeah.
I don't know. We were trying to do something.
Johnny, don't lose your train of thought. You're coming
Still
up
thinking of it.
and be thinking, okay, let me throw this out there, okay? And if it triggers a thought, throw it out there. You said that it really didn't mean much, okay? And so that statement for a lot of people, that were trying to win, it would have meant something, okay? Yeah. Is it that things like awards, accomplishments, recognitions don't mean much because we have a passion every time we're doing our craft? Like, that is already reward enough when you get together with your crew, you knock out a show and you launch it and you're like, man, that was a good one. We had a good laugh. We covered the topics. And I think that if that exists with every episode, that recognitions don't matter. Like, it's not that they're nothing, but they can't outweigh when I'm doing it. They don't
outweigh the times that I've got to meet other people like you or other podcasters that we've encountered. Those times mean more than actually winning. Yeah. Winning a poll vote or whatever. Like my value was more with other podcasters, getting to create with other podcasters, getting to meet Robin at Podcasting PBR, or going on her show, or going to Thanks for the Invite.
Got it. So there's a lot.
Getting to meet more people was more rewarding.
Yeah, I have to agree with him, because like back before we were linking up with other podcasts and stuff, and people would like come up to me and tell me like, "Hey man, y'all's podcast is dope, and y'all need to keep doing it. Y'all are good." Like that stuff would make me feel like, okay, maybe I should be recording, because I'm getting the feedback from it. So I can agree with him on that.
Well, congratulations.
Well, thank you.
I want to just tell you, from looking from the outside in, it matters. Even if it doesn't feel like nothing, it's nice that the city, that the people voted, and that y'all got chosen. And so I just want you to take that with you, because
I guess it just hasn't resonated.
Yeah.
It was like right now during this recording, it feels like it's not as important as it is, but I'm pretty sure going down the line, when I'm thinking about it, I'm like, wow, like hold on, it came from talking into a cell phone.
You know, when you think of like business people who have reached the highest level, you know, making all this money, being a CEO of a big company, anytime they sit down and they say, where did you get this entrepreneur spirit? Where did you get this drive for business? A lot of them, okay, and these are the greats. You know what they'll say? They say, I remember that I used to throw newspapers. I remember that I used to sell cans. And those were the beginning. That seemed like nothing compared to the hundreds of millions that they make. But in that moment, the values that it kind of instilled in them has lasted that long. And so take this victory, my man. It's well deserved.
Well, thank you.
Johnny, you're up to bat. How did you feel when you heard that y'all won? How you processing it now? What have you learned? How you grow from it?
Well, I was shocked at first, because Jay had called me when I was at work, and he's like, "Yeah, they're saying we won." I was like, "What? Won what?"
They're saying we won.
Word on the aisle.
Yeah, they're saying they won. I was like, "What are you talking about?" He said, "We won the best of 2023." I said, "For real? We actually did?" Like, I didn't think nothing of it, especially because we took a break right when we did the votes. And we found out like a week or two before we would come back on. And it was just like shocking to me. But I went to Jay's house after the fact, got the newspaper and seen it. And I was like, dang, this is actually real. And then the thing I wanted to do for it, was just like prove to my wife like this is real. So I went to home and showed her.
I told you.
Yeah.
I told you.
I told you.
I think we all did that.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely did.
And then I like the grind that we've been on, and I like that like Aramis said, the feedback that we're getting back from people like that we know, people that we don't know on social media, and just like seeing like we're actually doing something. We're not just, oh yeah, we're just sitting in a room and we're just recording and then we post it and nobody sees it.
Because that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Like it's just it's just a part of my house that we're recording in for fun.
Yeah.
And it started on a microphone, and then I bought a Blue Yeti. We'll probably worst microphone to probably use ever.
As a podcast, at least.
The content was so good that people were willing to put up with the bad quality.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that microphone, Aramis.
Oh yeah, of course.
Like three of us on one microphone.
So just put the volume up and just everybody talk loud.
Yeah.
Johnny, you were saying? What else came from it when you found out?
I don't know. I just thought it's like, all right, like we've been putting in the work and it's actually did something.
Yeah.
Like our work actually like did something for our podcast, and we're not just like some three guys just talking on a mic and that's it.
Now, any of y'all can take this, okay? Hard work and dedication, they're so important to creating anything, okay? And from your perspective, it's creating the podcast, the R.A.P podcast. And so what do you think sets, and I know y'all not going to like this word, but I had to put it in there. What sets y'all apart from the competition? Let's just say for 2023, what made y'all, you looking at what y'all do, this is why we won. I know it sounds a little bit arrogant, but this is a lesson for people watching who are trying to learn. And I think that if you don't look at certain things as competition, then why are you doing it? We're all trying to improve and be better, not in an ugly way, but everyone elevates themselves.
We might all have a different answer on this one. My answer to me is I think we're in a space where we can be brutally honest with all three with each other.
Yeah.
And no one's gonna get their feelings hurt or something like that. So when something uncomfortable that needs to be brought up, we bring it up and then we talk about it, and then it's back to the good times. And then once the mics come on, it's like we're all trying our hardest to make each other laugh. Like who could make who laugh more, and it becomes more personal than it. But we just record it, and then other people seem to gravitate to it because they feel like they're part of the conversation. So yeah, to me, it's just like, all right, Johnny just said something crazy. I got to say something crazier than that.
Yeah.
Or Aramis is being, I may disagree with Aramis on one little thing, but I got to exaggerate and make it a bigger deal than what it is.
Like our last episode.
Yeah. So just to make it funny, but it's like, I'm not thinking of an audience per se, I guess. I'm more thinking of, I got to make these guys at my table on our microphones laugh.
Give me an instance when y'all disagreed and maybe it got a little bit heated, but it had to be addressed and y'all moved forward from it.
Off the mic?
Off the mic, yeah. Because people don't realize how much off the mic messes up, the chemistry on it. And it breaks pod squads or groups. It breaks them apart because they can't handle the drama off the mics. And then all of a sudden they're gone. So what have you handled? Maybe one instance.
We just fight.
Yeah.
Physical.
I really don't think it's nothing crazy that we've.
Yeah.
It may be bad communications, tardiness, or just something that we didn't envision on a recording when it came to the editing.
Yeah.
But it was nothing. It's never gotten serious.
Yeah. Well, that's good to hear because I'm not also asking that because I want like a bunch of drama.
Yeah.
I want to hear people that are friends and they're doing it. Yeah.
I guess the complication comes that it's three of us.
Yeah.
It's not just two, it's three. So that means that you're incorporating three separate lives because we're all pushing our lives around. I had to empty out because what was my office was also a barber room, which was also a storage room. I had to move around my financial living to accommodate for a podcast.
Yeah.
Aramis has to make room for his schedule with having a family, a wife and kids. And
Everyone's
try to find the time.
sacrificing.
And then Johnny having to drive from Oklahoma.
Yeah, basically. Egypt.
Oklahoma.
So it's wherever you're from.
Every time they say where you live, it keeps going one more.
Farther.
Next they're gonna say Canada out of nowhere.
But it's us moving our lives around, trying to accommodate just one entity, which is the podcast. So I guess that's where the struggles come from, and I try to be as crazy lenient as possible. But at the end of the day, it's like if we have lives outside of the podcast and outside of work too, and it's like all of us, we only have like a certain limited amount of time with our family. So we're gonna try to. So if anything kind of overspills into that, it's like all right. It's like.
And we all, and at the end of the day, we all very passionate about doing podcasts. So it's just like it shows.
Yeah.
We all three love it. Like it's not like a job. It's like we're going to have fun.
We've had two individuals already on the podcast. One on R.A.P. and one on both on Workaholics actually. And it's like they hear the fun of recording a podcast. Like they get to just listen to the fun of it.
Yeah.
But they didn't want to put in the work.
Got it. So you mean two people that came and they're no longer
and they were
with
trying to be hosts.
Got it. Yeah.
And it was just like, all right, this may not work.
Yeah. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Aramis, what do you think sets y'all apart from the competition?
I think that, well, one, like I said, the passion and the chemistry. Like it's like I don't know how to explain it, but we really just be having fun. Like it's not hard. It's so easy. Like it in the chemistry. I think that we different. Like you don't see too many podcasts with these type of hosts. I don't know how to explain. Like it's a lot of podcasts,
and it's diversity too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And then it's just I don't know. I think we all bring, like, you got Johnny. He's the promoter. He's the best promoter any podcast could have. You know, you got Jay. He knows how to. I don't know the word I'm looking for right now, but it's structure conversation. That's good. And then you got me. I don't know. I think I'm funny. I've always been told you're funny. You're funny.
Would y'all agree with him? Is he the funny guy?
Yeah, he's alright. No, I remember one time we pulled a prank on Johnny, and we told him it was for April Fools because one of the Workoholic podcasts was going to end on April Fools, and I remember telling the whole audience just to trick Johnny. I was like, yeah. Aramis is going to XM radio. They thought he was really funny. I don't think it was that funny. And then during the prank, I got my feelings hurt. It was like, oh man, yeah, I was listening for just Aramis alone. I was like, dang. I was like, at some point, Aramis passed me up then.
Well, it's that funny saying. I don't know if you ever heard it, where they go, I wish I could attend my own funeral so that I can see who would come and what they would say. And so, the first one to go, you get to see where the love was. Johnny, how about you? What do you think sets y'all apart? And I say from the competition, but as a podcast, what sets y'all apart? What have you seen? Because you've talked and you've been on other podcasts. Yeah. What have you seen and learned that you're like, man, that we're doing this right, or I learned from them, or something along those lines?
I mean, like they've been saying, it's the chemistry. Even like outside of the podcast, we have a great time together. We'll hang out. We'll do random stuff. Yeah, and then like actually like the podcast itself, us trying to stay consistent in like putting out content like every week, and then putting out clips and stuff every week, and trying to keep up with it. I think that's been helping us out, as the clips, and trying to just push ourselves out there in the way we talk.
Maybe this is something to add to that too, is I did orchestrate the whole thing, like as in like I started it. So I used their unique talent and their interest to elevate it. So I knew Johnny was already working on music videos, and he's really good at editing. Okay. So I was like, you know what, let's incorporate that and use it to the best of ability. Aramis is very knowledgeable in sports and music, and he's good with the one-liners. So I was like, you know what, he'd be a pretty good host too. Like, so let's like incorporating their best. And even though we're not on the same paths, we all want to get to the same, I guess, destination. Yeah. So even though we may spiral out of control, at the end, the chemistry just works.
And so, if y'all had to say, Aramis, if you had to say the best qualities of your co-host, what would they be?
Like I say, Jay's is structuring. Like, he knows how to get in the conversation, get out of it. Like, he's great at that. That's why I say transitioning. There you go. That's why I say he's like Ebro. And then you got Johnny. Johnny, like I said, like we wouldn't even know y'all if Johnny wasn't on the podcast. I don't think. Because he's just that good with communicating with other people. And I won't say we would know y'all, but he's just good.
He triggered a few things in the community.
Right. And so I think that elevated us a lot with that. I think that's his talent. Like, other than being a host, I think that's one of his great talents, that he's a great promoter. He knows how to get us out there. So, and then I don't know, like they say, people say different things about me, but what my great quality is,
Well, what do y'all say? What is Aramis, aside from the one-liners? That's obviously in the beginning. That's what you saw. How has he improved now, and what does he bring to the table now? Because it definitely has to be different from when y'all started.
He knows how to make a mountain out of a molehill. Yeah. So, like, if we start off with a little conversation, he's learned the ability to stretch a certain topic out, find the funny in it, find the dark in it, find the question everything, and it just makes for great conversation. So he's found his communication throughout the years.
I think his knowledge of a lot of stuff too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
When he first come on the R.A.P podcast, when it was just me and Jay, he started saying all these random things. I'm like, dang, this dude actually knows his stuff. Like, we should be getting him on the R.A.P podcast for real. And then it ended up happening.
Yeah, and if you're watching the R.A.P podcast, I'll put a link below, and they talk. How would y'all describe it? It's music, pop culture, and like relevant news, or how would y'all describe it if y'all had to?
It's more music conversation than anything. Mm-hmm. We try not to bring so much ongoing news.
Got it.
other than like some music reviews. But we just want to have conversations about music, whether it be in the 90s and the 2000s and early teens.
And we try to not make it like.
We try to make it timeless.
Yeah, and we're not trying to make it where like, because I've heard like other podcasts in the past that are not local that they tell their knowledge of the music, but it's just like they're going off their script.
Yeah.
We're going off the script and we're just freestyling of what we want to talk about.
Yeah.
So yeah, off the script music conversations with a hint of jokes.
Yeah,
spread throughout the podcast.
Yeah.
Well, riddle me this and riddle me that. I'm going to read y'all a riddle right now, and then I want y'all to see if y'all can figure it out. Okay?
Right.
So turn your ears on. I'm like a puzzle with pieces to connect. When aligned just right, we gain respect. We complete each other, never to reject. Achieving our goals, we always intersect. What am I? Give it a go.
The R.A.P podcast.
we complete each other.
That's your answer. Okay, he said the R.A.P podcast.
Dang,
I really don't know.
You don't know? That's okay.
Yeah, I just heard some interesting rhyming words.
Yeah. Well, the answer is what am I? And that is teamwork. Okay.
I was thinking like group, but
So you kind of got it. And then, you should have said group. That was along the line. So the reason I wanted to share that riddle is because y'all have a good team, and that y'all have already been touching on the dynamic of working with each other and respecting each other. So we're going to just jump into a few subjects about teamwork and how y'all feel about it. Can you share some insights and some instances when the three of y'all have had to work and maybe like a unique challenge, or y'all encountered something that y'all had to collaborate with that you feel has made y'all better, or it keeps showing up, when y'all do an episode? Like how y'all figured out what your lanes are, how many times have y'all had to switch lanes? What has made y'all a great team?
I guess just every time we talk, it's just seeing what we need to talk about, and I don't know. It's just I don't know how to explain it really.
Yeah.
Just like each podcast, we kind of get better and better.
Yeah.
I don't know. For the longest, it's just been three friends talking to each other.
Yeah.
On a mic.
Yeah.
Like the work is outside of the conversation. So it's like, how do we just get everybody to meet up at a certain time in one spot every week? That's the work for us.
Yeah, that's true.
The fun part is just on the conversation for us. It's always just, all right, what conversations did you bring up this week? What conversations did you bring up this week? What we got? And then, like I said, we started a conversation on our last podcast, and we were gonna start answering fan questions, and we only answered one because we stretched it out for a whole hour.
Yeah.
And it was unintentional, but that's just what it is. So
there's I think of the movie Remember the Titans.
Yeah.
Okay, do you remember when they were not working good together, and then all of a sudden they became friends, and then the dynamic of a friendship brought them together, and then they just played well. And so I see a lot of groups or creatives come together based on talent alone. There's no relationship. There's no doing life together. And so would you say that lines up with what you're saying, where the friendship that y'all have has played a key role in your teamwork?
I'm gonna say no. Aramis over there shaking his head. Yeah.
I mean, I got. Why you say no?
Why you say no?
Because the podcast happened because we were such great friends.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Maybe you misunderstood me.
Okay,
Because your friendship is key.
when we first all started and we all met each other,
Yeah.
I didn't even know Aramis had a voice.
Got it.
He wouldn't talk to anybody. I don't even know how I got to talk to him.
You probably asked him for the weather.
Johnny actually told you that you should get me on the podcast.
Yeah, that's what it was.
But I talked to you before.
Yeah,
then.
but you didn't know that I wanted to do pod. Like,
No,
you know,
I mean that's true.
Yeah.
But Johnny has been always quiet and shy.
Yep.
To the point where it was like,
So they were both quiet.
oh, they were, oh yeah.
Well, we so happened to just chop it up with each other at work, here and there. Yeah.
And like I said, I remember, I swear all of it started from one question in the warehouse. And I was like, man, it's a whole music conversation for a whole 12 hours that happened. And I was like, you know what? This should be a podcast. This should be a podcast. It just kept in the back of my mind. And I think Johnny was part of that question. And I don't remember if you were there long enough for you to be part of that question too. But I just remember asking a question at the beginning of the day, and everybody was arguing and fighting for the. And that's how the R.A.P. pod came to be. Was a question that I asked at work, and it was a 12-hour shift, and we
got
left.
legs.
Yeah, we left work still talking about arguing.
They still do that today, where they'll come up to us after what we said on the podcast, like, "What, you said that for real?"
Yeah.
And we have to have a whole conversation for that whole day about it.
People are mad that we're not doing it live because I wish I could call in. I wish I could call in.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, that
So-
would be.
And we might.
So, Aramis, if you were sitting on a panel and they asked you, Aramis, what are 3 things that make your team work, or that you're proud of your team for doing? What would you answer?
I would say, that would be a hard question because it's so many things. But I feel like the main thing is we are cool outside of recording, because that, like you said, you can realize talent and be like, okay, he's talented, so we work as recording, but outside I really don't like how he is as a person, you know what I mean? So it's just business. But what else is not business? Like I had a baby shower for my new baby coming, and these 2 guys came and we was chopping it up. Everybody was laughing. It was like we should have recorded.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, like we should have recorded that day, and like even my wife was like, y'all funny. Like I didn't know y'all was that funny.
Who laughed. And
my mom was there. My mom even was like, y'all are funny.
She
Like
should have been on the podcast for.
she has been on the episode. Shout out to Mama Payne.
Well, I'm
She's
saying,
been on
like,
there.
like live in person.
Oh yeah.
I forgot whose. It may have been someone's wife, but someone was laughing like hard, and I was like, "Hey,
Johnny's wife.
we're on the podcast."
Your wife laughed.
Is that what
She asked.
Y'all get up for food. Y'all like, we'll be right back after this break.
No, I literally got up after the joke because I felt like it was a mic drop, and I was like, "Hey, we're on the podcast." By the way,
She acts like she
Check
don't
it
like
out.
it, but she likes it.
So does my wife. She acts like she don't like it, but she likes it though.
dang.
Even like my sister has sent her one of our clips recently, and she's like, "Why did she send me this?" And I was like, "I don't know, probably it's funny," because my sister will listen. I don't know if she listens to the whole podcast, but she watches all the clips and like sends them and talks about it or whatever. And I said, "Why did you send this? Like, it probably is funny." And she's like, "Why are you laughing so hard on this clip?" I was like, "It was funny." She's like, "It's not that funny." It's like she just want to be like pretending to be mean to me just cause or whatever.
Well, encouragement and support are so crucial when people are collaborating. Yeah. How do y'all provide emotional support and motivation to one another during difficult times or creative blocks? Like personally, talking to y'all, I know y'all have had a few breaks for this reason or that reason. You don't need to share details, but how are y'all there for each other whenever y'all are going through things? Because the pod is important, but your friendships are and that brings great teamwork, obviously.
I think just being able to relate to each other.
Yeah.
Aramis is a father, and we've had conversations about marriage, and we have conversations about being in fatherhood. So that's where I feel like that's where we help each other out. It's almost like therapy when we talk to each other.
Yeah.
Like I tell him something, it kicks for him, and then he tells me something. I'm like, I never thought of it that way. So that's where me and Aramis have bonded over recently. And me and Johnny, it's sad to say, we bond over trauma.
Yeah.
Because we could relate to a lot of things that we grew up with and a lot of the hardships in life. And that's not to say that Aramis hasn't, but people attract to other people for different reasons, and I mean that sounds bad, and unfortunately that's how we grew together.
But you're talking about it, connecting and growing from it. That's the good thing.
I mean, I guess therapy at the end of the day is what it feels like to me. Like when I go to
free
him,
therapy for each other.
Yeah, it's just pretty much free therapy. He's like, they were both there for me whenever my father passed, but Johnny was more able to relate to like having mixed feelings about your father, and anytime that I have to question or think about anything that has to do with marriage or fatherhood, it's always me and Aramis sitting in the aisles at work having a whole conversation when we shouldn't have, you know?
Yeah.
So how about you guys is when it comes to like motivation or support or just going through things in life, knowing that you have this bond, you have this team that's there for you. How has the team helped you through things like that?
It's just like how you said, it's just our communication with each other. We're always communicating. We're always trying to, you know, we're always trying to motivate each other and try to get each other better in every way that we can.
And I'm not scared to ask either one their opinion because I always want to know, get a second opinion on things. So, and I think I can go to either one of them and ask them anything. You know?
That's good, man. I'm happy to hear that because there's a lot of people who show up for the show and then afterwards they're all separate or they're doing their own thing.
Like I said, we actually hang out outside of the podcast. If we didn't have the podcast, we would probably still be hanging out.
Yeah.
And I'm glad it got that way because for the longest, for me and Aramis, that's the only time that we would talk to each other.
Yeah, that's true.
Our famous quote when we first started off was "Save it for the pod, save it for the pod," and we kind of. And I didn't realize how damaging that was.
Yeah,
that means that
cutting everything off.
Yeah. So once we kind of evolved away from that, and we just have a good conversation outside of that. We never. When's the last time we said that to each other? Save it for the pod.
But a long time.
Yeah, but like.
That could be detrimental. Imagine, you know, him coming up to you saying, "Man, I'm kind of sad today," and then you're like, "Dude, say that for the and you move on." Dude, no, that's great, man. Okay, man. Okay, so whoever wants to take this first, what advice do you have for aspiring podcasters, but not only just podcasting, but for someone who wants to do a team or multiple host for their pod? Because I know how difficult. I'm a solo act, man. Like, even though I have guests, I can only imagine what it is to work with people. What advice or strategies would you give someone who's watching that's like, man, I want to do this with my friends, and then probably 3 or 4 people that they would have on their pod?
I feel like it's like not to say like we're like in a couple or whatever, but it's like being with your it's like you being with your significant other. It's like that relationship, that communication and everything like that for it to work out. And then another thing, what was the other thing I was gonna say? I forgot the other thing.
Like a strategy or something that helps.
Yeah.
Here's the thing for me is you can't just get a team going.
Yeah.
You have to do what you do the best and keep doing that. Despise if you don't have the proper equipment or if you have the proper team. Eventually, what you do or what you like will attract to you, and that's how you create the team. I'm with Aramis and Johnny not because I was like, hey, these two would be a good match, but because we gravitate towards the same thing, and it eventually built a good team. But I feel like I got lucky with that, like, because I've done other podcasts before, and it's like I had people who I had great conversations with, but we're not on the same vision. It's just I just kept doing it long enough because I knew that's what I wanted to do, and eventually you'll get to a place where like that's all you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
So what you do is what you surround. Who you are and what you do is what you will eventually surround yourself with, and then from there you can build your team. Because then y'all all have the same vision and y'all are all the same. Y'all may not be on the same path, but y'all have the same destination.
Yeah.
Aramis, what do you think? What advice would you give to someone that wants to do a pod with several people?
I mean, like he said, just focus on your craft. But if you do see the potential in people around you, don't be scared to try it. I feel like a lot of people hit me up and be like, "Oh man, I want to do a podcast. Like I see you doing your thing. I want to do a podcast." And I always tell them like, "Hey, try it." That's what I did. I just tried it and I was good at it, and you know. But you just want to make sure you have it's the right people, because like anybody, you just can't link up with anybody and think it's going to work. You know.
Yeah. What would you say, Johnny? Because for me, if I had to give advice, I would be like, man, mine's more, it sounds negative, but it's not negative. But it's like, avoid someone who micromanages, avoid someone who's always late, avoid someone who's like bossy. If you wanted to do a team podcast, I would be like, make sure they don't have those qualities because it ain't going to work. Yeah. Is there something that sticks out along those lines?
I guess just like how they're saying,
like you said it. Nah.
Yeah, it's like that. It's just you stay, like you said, Aramis said, stay in your lane. but you just have to work together.
Yeah.
And then eventually you might have that bond, or you might not have the bond, and then y'all end up breaking out or breaking up.
All right, I'm going to ask y'all some tough questions. Okay, and it's gonna be funny. I already know. So just give your best answer. If you need to pass, whatever, do it. But just try to give your best answer. And guys, if you're watching, don't be hard on the answers. This is to get your brain working, just to see how y'all think and approach some big questions. Okay, so Aramis, I'm gonna give you the first one. Okay, so you're a captain on a sinking ship, and you have only enough lifeboats for half of the passengers and crew. How do you decide who gets to board the lifeboats, knowing that some will be left behind?
Look at me. I am the captain now.
You can answer.
Well, I'm gonna say which one of y'all can swim. But no, I don't. That's tough, man. I feel like I would try to see if how many I could fit on. One. I wouldn't just be like, well, no, this only fits this, so y'all gonna get left behind. I couldn't do that.
You get a boat.
Yeah, you get a boat. You don't. You can swim. You can't. So I would just try to see how I could get them all on there.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, that's my final answer.
That's good. Okay. The reason I'm asking these questions that are thought provoking is because it helps people see how you think and react. Some be like, man, half got to go, half will win, half lose, and that's it.
Yeah.
So you got some heart, my man. So that was a good answer. It's good to go. Okay, Johnny, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, you're a doctor with limited medical supplies, and 2 patients need life-saving treatments immediately. One patient is a young child and the other is an elderly person. You only have enough resources to save one of them. How do you make this difficult decision? Steal. You're like,
sorry, Daddy.
Steal.
You lived a good life.
I don't know. It's gonna sound bad either way, but I'll just say the younger person, just because.
That's messed up.
But how would you draw that decision? Because it's not necessarily about the older or the kid, but it's like, how do you draw that decision? What brought you to that?
Just because older person had already kind of lived mainly their whole life.
Yeah.
And this little kid still has a chance to live a life and be the next best doctor, best whatever. I just see the little kid needs to live the life, and then the older person kind of just already lived theirs.
Okay, that's fair. I'm not going to give any pushback on your ansers, but it's just okay. Jay, here's yours. You have to fire one of your co-hosts. Not what is his name? Johnny.
Both of them.
Okay, here we go, man. You're the CEO of a company facing financial hardship, and you must lay off a significant portion of your workforce to keep the business afloat. How do you choose which employees to let go, knowing that their livelihoods are at stake?
Ooh, that one's tough.
That's hard.
And I have to let go of people?
You have to, man.
There's no way around it?
Not today.
I guess I would have to look at past history, who had the best work ethic, who actually fought for their life. I'm not even going to look at seniority. I'm just going to look at whoever. It doesn't matter if you've been there for a year or 10 years. The amount of work that you put in, the amount of times that you've showed up extra, all the little things that you've done, that you've gone out of your way to do, that's who's staying.
Very good. I hope y'all enjoyed that. I like thought-provoking type questions. I have a few more. We're almost at the end of the pod. Let me ask y'all this, okay? When you hear, because we are the Failed Podcast, when you hear the word failure, how do you define it? Okay, we'll start with Aramis. When you hear the word failure, how do you define it?
I define failure as you didn't complete you failed. You didn't complete the mission. Whatever your mission was, you didn't complete it.
We'll get them next time.
Yeah.
Jay?
Me? I see it as opportunity.
Yeah.
Whenever we talk about failure, it's like, all right, you could either do one or two things. You could stay on the floor, you could get back up. And if you get back up, you got to remember what brought you onto the floor the first time. and then learn from there, which is opportunity.
Very good.
I say like a speed bump. It slows you down for the moment, but you're gonna keep on going.
I like y'all's answers.
I want to change my answer.
I want to change mine now.
We're gonna have to talk about your conversations.
So I have a few more questions, and I'm trying to decide how to deliver them. We're just gonna let you own it. If I ask you, it's yours, and then you'll get a new one and a new one because they're good. And I know whenever we hear a good question, we want to jump in on it, but we won't do that. Okay, so. Here goes yours. What is your primary source of motivation every day?
My wife and kids.
Jay, you ready? How do you cope with stress in challenging situations?
That was more harder than the.
I know. Why didn't I get that one?
I was like, yeah, I wanted that one. Meditation.
Yeah.
Meditation and research.
Let me ask, as far as meditation, because there's so much out there. What type are you doing? Are you like centering yourself? Are you having quiet time? Are you doing like box breathing therapy, like motivation things? Or
When I say meditation, I'm more of a put on some calming music, and I forgot the genre of music that I listen to when I'm in meditation, but it's something really, really soft, and I just put the electronics away, and I time myself for 15 minutes, and I don't know how I was able to do it now. I couldn't do it in the past, but just you and your thoughts for 15 minutes is what used to be terrifying. Like, I think we needed the distractions of cell phones and TV and everyday activities, but I find myself realizing that it's scary because then you're facing your demons, and that's where meditation now comes in. It's like, all right, what demon am I facing now? Like, what problems am I actually facing now? So that's kind of what I do for my meditation. It may not be the same as everybody else's, and I don't think it's supposed to be, but that's what helps me.
That's good. Johnny, describe a recent moment when you felt a strong sense of happiness or contentment. What caused it?
Us winning best of 2023.
Yeah.
It was just like, even though it's not like we were saying, it's not a huge deal, but it's a deal that it's like, all right, we actually did something.
Yeah.
It's like we're actually like making like strides forward, and like, dang, we're actually winning an award that's showing that we're doing something in the community. We're doing something that could be something that we can like do this for a long time.
Yeah. So out of y'all three, if I had to ask for someone to give the plug for the rap, who would you pick, Jay? Who's doing the plug? It's not you, because you've obviously, like, you're the community, you're driving the ship. Who would you pick out of them?
Johnny,
do the plug, Johnny.
What?
And obviously, if y'all watching, everything will be in the description below. Check them out. Listen to their stuff. Keep up with what they're doing, because y'all on the up and up, man. I'm expecting nothing but great things from y'all. So give them a quick plug, and hopefully the interview does more, draws people to want to hear y'all than that. But I still like to give the opportunity for y'all to plug.
All right, you can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. There's other platforms I can't remember the name of, but if you go to our Instagram at R.A.P Podcast, there's a link that you can click that has like all the social medias and everything. You can follow us on TikTok, on Facebook, and follow us on YouTube. We don't have full clips of all of our podcasts, but we have our interviews on there.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Boom. Okay. Just for fun, I want to see how you would do.
You can check out the R.A.P podcast or the Workoholic podcast wherever you listen to your favorite podcast.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Guys, just, thank y'all so much for coming on. I think it was a great conversation.
Yeah.
I think there was a lot of nuggets, not chicken nuggets, but gold nuggets. And
I'll take them both.
yeah, boy, they're both good. And so thank y'all so much for coming on. Congratulations again for that recognition.
Thank you.
it is something.
It is.
Yeah, that's what I said,
You'll remember.
something,
Yeah,
but
you'll
it's not-
remember it in the future. And I'm glad that we're establishing a relationship, that we're building a friendship, and here at the Failed Podcast, man, we like to support creative people and podcasters, and so y'all have my support, man. I'm rooting for y'all, and I'm watching whenever y'all release. I'm laughing with y'all and really being entertained. Like there's stuff that I'm just like I should not be laughing at that. But no, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, man.
Whenever out of like with the three hosts, whenever you're watching it, like what do you see in us?
Well, when we're gonna go, I was gonna cut it, dude, but I'm gonna answer it. Not joking. So when I first stumbled across y'all, I saw a dynamic in communication and the way that the conversations were driven, and then I could identify each person, like what he does, what you do, and what you do, and I like that. It wasn't just like I'm gonna say something and okay, I'm gonna jump on the bandwagon and I'm gonna agree, because I don't like when that happens. And so I saw the how diverse y'all were, and y'all were just good. And I remember reaching out to Jay and saying, y'all are great communicators. Now that I've got to listen to more podcasts, but in the beginning I heard a few, and that's what caught me. I said, Jay, man, you're a good communicator. And I told my wife, I said, this guy's got something. It's like, I want to talk like him. You know what I mean? No, but you just had this cadence, bro. Like all you were lacking was a beat, man. But you had a good flow, and I just like that about you, man. And even what you bring to it, it's so funny because I'm just like, what's he gonna sing? Or imitate, like you like imitating. People, and I like that. And so that's what. Yeah. Is that an answer?
Yeah, that was a good answer.
Go. Any questions, comments, or concerns since Aramis opened it up? We're good?
No.
Guys, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for
I
having
enjoyed
us.
this time.
It's always a pleasure.
Thanks, sir. And we'll see you on the next one.
Peace.